I was actually going to do this live reading when I got home, but my feet were kind of hurting, and I was checking my emails and stuff, so anyways, today we are going to be reading chapter 30. I'm moving stuff out of the way so I can move the camera closer so you guys can hear me. I'm in the middle of writing a book series, so my desk is kind of messy. Just a little bit. Okay. Whoa. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Okay. You never know. Batman might jump up here. So you might see a tail flopping around. Okay, so. Okay. So so on Wednesday, I read chapter 29. And that chapter was Olivia and Tyler had went on a date together. And I was like really shy reading it. So now we are going to be reading chapter 30. And this chapter is a little long. So I don't know like how long it's going to take me to read it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start reading. So Batman bit. Look. He bit on it. What the heck? I do have more of these. My friend Jerry from church got me. She got this one for me, I think. I think I'm going to have to... Son of a bee. Oh. Okay. I have these that I can read with. These are the ones that I have. I have Flowers. I have Dream Big. And then these ones, actually, I got these at Farmer's Market. So they're magnets to mark your pages. So like this one is a fox. And then this is an owl. Every time I get an owl of something, it reminds me of my friend Cassie because she loves owls. So that's an owl. And then this one is John 3:16. And it says, "For God so loved the world that he saved his only begotten son." Maybe, I think. I don't know, but that's what this one is. And then here's another one right here. This one is, "I can do everything through him." And then this one says Dream Big. So I'll probably do Dream Big because I do dream big a lot. Okay. Oh, here's another one I forgot about. This one too. Enjoy the little things. This one. You guys see it? Maybe? I don't know. Okay. So I will do the Dream Big one. And Batman decided to jump up here. So I'm going to have to move stuff. I am really sorry about my background back there. It is a little... Hey, don't bite me. Okay, I'm going to take another drink real quick. Because last time I read, my throat was really, really dry. Oh, dear Lord. We got a bug on the side of the wall. I actually thought he saw Spook's spirit. What do you think? Oh, Lord. Can you guys see that up there? There's like a bug up there. Can you see it? Okay. Move it, Batman. Go, move down. Okay. I gotta get this reading done. Okay, so this is chapter 30 from Awakened Evil, the second book in the Keeper of Souls series. Okay. Morning of the visitation, Madison stood in front of the mirror in the bathroom and put a necklace on. It had a shape of a circle with bro written on it. It was specially made for Madison when she was first born. Her mom made another for Keegan that said sis. Madison never saw Keegan wear his. After she got dressed, she went into the kitchen and made a bowl of oatmeal with sliced bananas and strawberries in it. Keegan never did like fruits and veggies. He always tried to get out of eating it by asking to go to the bathroom or spitting it in his napkin when mom or dad wasn't looking. I've really done that before when I was a kid. Madison always saw him doing that and shook her head, rolling her eyes. But she never told on him unless she was mad at him for something she didn't like. While her mom finished getting ready in the bathroom, hearing her sobbing, Madison remembered the times Keegan used to go into her bathroom without asking and take her CD player. She had to chase him out and yell, "Mom, he took my CD player again." I think that really happened in real life, like in my life, I think. The bathroom door opened as her mom sniffed back her tears and wiped her nose. For a brief second, they looked at each other. I was going to put makeup on, but I can't stop crying. You have every right to cry, Mom, Madison said. They both headed out to the car and drove to the funeral home. Madison dreaded the moment to see Keegan one last time in a casket. The thought filled her with guilt and sadness. Once they both arrived, they walked up the brick path that led to a set of stone steps and met up with the funeral director. Her hair was much darker and he was a little thinner than the last time she saw him. They all shook hands and walked into the entrance, where a large set of wooden steps led up to the second floor. I'm sorry about your son. He stared at Madison. Sorry about your brother. The smell was strange and different. Funeral homes always smelled weird to Madison. She never forgot that smell. Is he here? Madison asked. Yes. Where's the bathroom? Down the hallway. He pointed and around the corner. Thank you. Madison took her time and glanced over her shoulder. Her mom and the funeral director walked into an office. She saw a double glass door and parked it. It was a sitting area with a small table. She checked the next door and heard her mom and the funeral director talking down the hall. She turned with a man and a woman on it, side by side. The sound of leaves fluttered in the grasp of the wind. The sky brought in gray clouds. He knew if he was still alive, he would be wearing a heavier jacket or his dad's raincoat. Once he arrived at the funeral home, he stopped by a large gray stone with words carved in it that read, Traverse City Funeral Home. What are we doing at a funeral home? It's where my funeral will be. Keegan walked up the sidewalk and saw his mom's car out front. Once he made it to the front of the building, he stepped through the door and into another room. He stopped by the casket and stared down at his body. A dead body. A body that wasn't his anymore. The scar above his left eye still remained, above his eyebrow. He knew Madison still felt bad for throwing a rock at him. Whoa, you're so pale and lifeless, man. Terrence lifted a hand, and right before his finger touched Keegan's cheek, Keegan smacked his hand. Terrence flinched and looked at him. Don't touch my face. Why not? Well, how would you like it if someone was touching your face after you died? How would you like it if someone was touching your face after you died? Oh, sorry. It's just a body. It's not like you're going to feel anything. Feel it anyways. I don't care. Show some respect. Show some respect. He watched Terrence shake his head and stare back at the body. Man, you really are dead. He leaned closer and stared at it, and stared as if he was focusing. What are you doing? You still have that scar above your eye. Keegan heard the doorknob and spun around. Oh no, time to go. He grabbed Terrence by the shirt and they both ran straight through the wall and disappeared. Madison pushed the door open and stepped in. Darkness consumed the back room. Only a strip of light from the hallway gave view of the gray carpet. It traced over the end of the casket. It traced over the end of the casket. Once she closed the door, she flipped the switch on, and light flooded the space. Across the room lay Keegan in the casket. Only part of his forehead and nose could be seen. The closer she became, the more clear the view. We got a gnat flying around in here, people. Batman's keeping an eye on it. The closer she became, more clearer the view. She stopped by the casket and saw him in the blue button-up t-shirt and nice jeans. Who put him in a button-up shirt? He never wore those. Keegan never dressed up for nobody or for anything. But then something did bring back a memory. Dad wore a shirt similar to that. Maybe Keegan wanted a shirt like Dad's. Father like son never grew old between them. He laid there so peaceful and relaxed, as if he were asleep. He was so young and taken so soon. Tears filled her eyes and her throat swelled. It was surreal seeing him in a casket. The cuff of his shirt covered his neck. What did it look like after death? She lifted a shaky hand and gently moved the cuff down. There was a row of stitches from one side of his neck to the other. She stared back at her brother. Keegan? Tears poured down her cheeks. She held on to the edge of the casket. If only we didn't get into a fight that night, you would still be alive right now. I know it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, brother. Please. I do forgive you, a voice said from close by. A sheet of paper blew off the table. She let out a scream, not loud enough to be heard. She covered her mouth and looked towards the door. No sounds of shoes or voices to be heard. Her heart beat faster, pounding in her ears. She knew who the voice was. It was Keegan. He was there. He came back again. Keegan? She stared at the wall, waiting to see a sign of him. A sign of closure. A sign to know that he was okay and not afraid. It wouldn't be the first time he came through, but this time it was his voice, not a letter. Keegan, where are you? She touched the wall where the voice came from. She leaned her head to it and listened. It was quiet and steady. Madison, where are you? Oh no. She hurried to the door and waited for her voice to stop. Once she opened the door, she saw her mom enter her room. She hurried down the hall, past closed doors, and went into the reposing room where her mom was and sat down. Where did you go? I needed a moment to myself. In the bathroom? Yes. Her mom kissed her on the head. Two big wooden doors opened, catching Madison's attention. Two men rolled the casket out past Madison and her mom. Once it stopped in the front of the room, one man lifted the head panel and then inserted a small silver handle below the pillow where Keegan's head was and started to use it in a stirring motion. As the other man checked the casket to make sure it was straight, Keegan's body slowly rose and then stopped. When her mom saw Keegan in the casket, she brought a hand to her mouth and broke down in tears. She held the tissue in her hand, sobbing. 1 hour later, okay, there we go. I was trying to adjust my blanket. Okay. 1 hour later, the visitation started. Teachers from the high school showed up to see the family and other loved ones. Students that she hardly ever spoke to came as well, did Neve and Horace. She hoped they would come. Madison saw Mrs. Wayne, her history teacher, walk into the room with a rose in her hand. She walked over and hugged Madison. Hi, Mrs. Wayne. I'm sorry for your loss, she said, then handed her the rose. Madison swiped a tear away and took the rose. Thank you. She rubbed her back. You're welcome. Once the visitation had ended, Madison and her mom went back to the hotel and went straight to bed. Seconds after Madison fell asleep, her dreams prolonged two girls in the woods. They felt so real she could reach out and touch them. Madison followed them through the woods, and in a split second, she heard a creepy laugh. Madison awoke with sweat on her forehead. She loosened the grip from the damp sheets. The only source of light in the room was the moonlight gliding in through the blinds across the end of the bed. She studied the room and saw that her mom was sound asleep. She pulled the blankets off and walked into the bathroom, then closed the door behind her. She flipped the switch and stared at herself in the mirror. She pulled her shirt off and dropped it to the floor. She turned the water on and splashed her face a couple of times. Why am I dreaming about two young girls? It didn't make any sense. I don't understand why I keep having these dreams. I'm starting to think they might be clues to something. And if they are clues to something, then what do they mean? She grabbed the towel off the rack and dried her face. The thought of the two girls remained there. Now, not so sure if getting to sleep tonight was any good, but at least she'll try. What? Hi. Oh, it's up there on the wall, huh? You can't reach it. The gnat is like still on the wall. Okay. Okay. She turned the light out, put a different shirt on, and laid back in bed. She thought about the nightmare, seeing the young girls, and hearing that creepy laugh gave her the chills. Wait a minute. Why does that laugh sound so familiar? Where did I hear it from? She stared out the window at the clear, starless sky. As a kid, She used to lay outside on the grass with Keegan and Dad. They would count as many stars as they could. She smiled to the memory. The sound of the laugh from the dream haunted her thoughts. But then it hit her. She thought back to the house out in the country. The laugh she heard from that woman that tried to kill her sounded just like the one from the dream she had. Is this woman from her nightmare connected to the house? The next morning, after Madison slipped a little colored dress on that stopped below her knees and a dress shirt with wide sleeves, she sat there at the table knowing today would be the last time she would get to see Keegan. Would she be able to handle the fact that Keegan won't be there in the mornings or to come home from school? Could she go on in life without her one and only brother? It went dark in the bathroom and her mom stepped out. Mom, I can't do this. I can't bury my only brother. I can't do it. Tears filled her eyes with a hand on her forehead. The thought of him being lowered in the ground like Dad was like doing it all over again. Except this time it was Keegan. Her mom sat down in front of her and lifted a hand. And lifted a hand. Madison, honey, look at me. I know it's hard, but we have to do it. I can't. You said that at your dad's funeral, and you went. I don't want to do this again, Mom. I know. I don't want to either, but we have to. Keegan would want that. We need to put him to rest next to your dad. Madison knew she had to do it. Keegan would do the same for you or Mom, Dad too. Her mom lifted the necklace from Madison's chest and slid her thumb across the silver metal that had the word bro carved on it. I knew you would wear this again someday. I never doubted it once, Madison. She let it go and hugged Madison and kissed her on the head. Everything will be okay. Your father will always watch over us. I know, he always does. Madison and her mom slipped their shoes on and left the hotel. Once they reached the funeral home, people were always arriving. Family members from Dad's side walked towards the front doors with their kids. As a child, she remembered playing with her cousins at Grandpa and Grandma's house. She hadn't seen them in a while since Dad's passing. Once her and Mom made it inside, sad, soft music played. The double screens showed pictures of Keegan like yesterday. She saw the picture of her and Keegan on the bathroom sink brushing their teeth. She sat down in the front row and watched pictures slide by of her dad and Mom at a family get-together. It all brought back good memories. She hadn't seen them in years since Dad passed. Looking at them made it a lot harder. After the pastor spoke, Madison's mom walked up to the altar and stopped. She stared at Keegan in the casket and covered her mouth, sobbing. Madison closed her eyes before countless tears rushed down her cheeks. She remembered Dad laying in the casket, the shirt he was wearing, and how his hair was slid to the side, something he never did. Keegan was a daddy's boy. He wanted to be like his dad and make him proud. As her mom talked, and big screen behind her on both sides of the wall showed pictures of him as a baby at the hospital. learning to crawl and walking for the first time, playing sports in middle school. Once her mom finished, family members got up and set a rose on the casket or left a photograph of him. Keegan stood in the far back, Terrence next to him. Terrence leaned closer to Keegan, catching his attention. "Hey, look, it's Cousin Freddie. Look at that hair, red as can be. You haven't seen him in a long time." He elbowed him, but it didn't do any effect. "Go say hi." "And how do you suppose me to do that?" "Just say hi like a normal person." "Really, Terrence? Think about that." I don't know." "You're acting like you have no feelings towards this whole thing. We're at my funeral. Show some respect." "You act like you won't ever see me again, Keegan. You have to deal with me in heaven." Keegan shook his head. "Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of." Then he walked away and passed a few people. They rubbed their arms from the effect. Madison walked up the steps, 1 foot at a time, then stopped by the casket and glanced down. She viewed the necklace one last time and lifted Keegan's hand. He was cold as ice and deadly pale. She slid the chain through his stiff fingers and stared at his face. She leaned down and kissed him on the forehead and whispered, rest in peace, brother. I love you. I will always miss you." She felt a cold breeze float past her and peeked over where the cold spot was lingering and didn't see anyone. Could it be a sign of Keegan? She lifted a hand and it was freezing. She folded her fingers inward, then turned around and sat next to her mom. Madison just realized how much she was going to miss Keegan. The feeling slammed her in the gut. It washed through her like a tidal wave. Keegan was gone. He wasn't here with Mom and me anymore, just like Dad. Reality smacked her in the face like a brick. After the funeral, the family and friends arrived at the grave site. A hole was already dug and his headstone set in place. Uncles from her dad's side of the family helped pull Keegan's casket out to the back of the black hearse as family members stepped out of their cars. Her dad's brothers carried Keegan's casket over to the hole as others followed behind. Madison and her mom sat in the front row as the other family members stood behind him. Most of them wore black and some wore colors. She hadn't seen her dad's side of the family since Dad had passed. It was nice for them to come to Keegan's funeral and pay their respect. Once everyone was stood around the casket, the pastor spoke with the Bible in his hand. "As we put Keegan Liam Swisher to his final resting place, we will always remember him as the fastest player on the football field, running the long yard in soccer and kicking the ball in the net, hitting a home run for the team and shooting the basketball in the hoop." Madison sat there trying to hold back the tears. But the thought of her brother not going to be around anymore was like a deserted place of darkness and full of sadness and loneliness. A place she was afraid to never leave. She felt this way when Dad passed and the moment they buried him in the ground. She didn't know where the path of life would lead or take her, but to carry Keegan's memory with her like she always did with her dad. Dark clouds hovered in the sky. Countless raindrops fell towards the ground, gliding down the headstones, dripping from the leaves. Keegan watched Madison and his mom get in the car and leave as other family members hurried to their cars. The rain fell and he looked up as the clouds became darker. He turned around and sat down next to his headstone. Terrence sat on the other side, moving his finger to the wet soil, but did no effect. At least we don't get wet, Terrence added. On the front had a basketball with his number. Next to it was a baseball and a bat, including a football and a helmet. That's what he wanted after Dad died. All the sports he played that made his dad proud. Keegan wiped the rain off, but it was no use. The rain kept falling. Hey, Keeg, at least they spelled your name right, Terrence pointed. Keegan looked, and it was right. His teachers in elementary school always spelled it Keegan instead of just one E. But it never did bother him. Sometimes he would catch himself spelling it that way too. As he got older, he spelled it with just one E. Keegan, a voice said. He looked up, and it was his dad. The rain fell past him. Dad, why are you back? Because you're not finishing your quest. The rain fell through him as if he wasn't there. I don't want to do it anymore. Mom and Madison needs me. His dad knelt down and touched his shoulder. Listen to me, son. You can't leave and forget about Olivia. You need to save her. For a moment, Keegan said nothing. It's over. This isn't the end, son. Life goes on. Yeah, for Mom and Madison, not us. Of course life goes on in the afterlife. Everybody has a job to do. Didn't you read about it in those books you were hauling around in your room after I died and keeping it a secret from Mom and Madison? His dad helped him to his feet. Yes, Dad, I remember. Then finish the quest. He walked past Keegan and rubbed the top of his head, just like he used to do when he was a kid. He never liked it. Dad, you're messing up my hair. Terrence laughed with both hands to his mouth. His dad walked past his headstone that read Liam Ray Susher. Keegan straightened his hair, hoping it wasn't looking a mess again. I hate it when he does that. Make me proud, son. And with that, he vanished into thin air. Chapter 31. Inga stood by a tall headstone next to a tree, grinning and staring. The father left, Peter said. Let's get them now. I can't, you idiot. Peter, Mark, and Joseph stepped back. There's still people around. They're sucking my energy out of me. I'm getting weaker by the minute. She looked back at the teen boys, then walked away. If only I had my diamond and my dagger, I wouldn't be in this mess right now. She evaporated and appeared back in her house and leaned to the fireplace with one arm to her forehead. Only if Mother was here, she would know what to do. Thinking about the loss of her mother and sisters still weighed heavy on her mind, like a hole in her heart that couldn't be fixed. The day Richard's wife died from the curse was still clear in her mind's eye. But things didn't go well for Inga and the two sisters. Richard took his own revenge on Sasha and Misty. He tortured them both and forced Inga to watch. She begged and pleaded for mercy and apologized for the curse. But Richard didn't accept it and had the two sisters hung. Inga screamed in tears and fought with the men as Richard stood there. Misty and Sasha dangled in the breeze, lifeless and limp. Inga channeled her own powers, starting out as a young witch, and escaped with mere minor cuts and bruises. I shall get my revenge, back at Richard for what he had done to my family. Dun dun dun. There we go. Okay, so that was chapter 30 and 31. So obviously, I can relate with this chapter because I volunteer at a flower shop and we do funerals a lot. So I've made flowers for funerals. I delivered them to the funeral home or even churches. I've seen bodies laying in the caskets. I've actually seen bodies like still laying on the cart to where they're like just getting ready to lift them up into the casket. I've actually one time, I think I probably said this story before, but me and a friend were delivering flowers at a funeral home, and it was so dark in the back room, we went into the wrong room, and we actually stepped on the lift where they bring the body up after they get done embalming them. I walked in the back room where there was a body on the table that was fully dressed, except he had only one sock on halfway. We went into the wrong room. So I really did have a lot of fun writing this chapter, and I wanted to show like what Keegan looked like in the casket. I never really seen a body with like stitches or cuts or anything. No bruising. They look really good as if they were alive. So these people that I've seen at these funeral homes, they really do look like they're sleeping. I mean, I've seen a few people that looked really pale and white, and I don't know, but like when my grandma had passed, I seen her in her casket, and I touched her hand, and she was very cold and stiff. And when I touched her, I kind of had a memory of holding her hand when it was nice and warm. And then now, like in the casket, it was like just really cold and stiff. And then I kind of just brushed her cheek a little bit with my finger, and I told her, I was like, oh, I miss you, Grandma. I love you. And I did almost break down, but I'm the type of person that does not like to cry in front of people. I just don't. I don't like it at all. I mean, if the only way I would cry in front of people is if, I don't know how to explain it, but I've cried in front of people before, but I'm just not that type of person. So anyways, yeah, like the funeral part, I relate with all of it. So, and then, so like, I wrote this scene, the funeral scene, and I wanted to show Madison's emotions and stuff. And when I wrote the chapter, I didn't know if, like, I wanted her to see Keegan before the funeral or after. But I figured, I was thinking, like, if I don't have Madison see Keegan before the funeral, she's going to break down and just start crying, and she's going to just be a mess. And she's kind of like me. Madison doesn't like crying in front of people. She kind of, like, she'll hold it in. So I wanted her to see Keegan first. So she's in the room where Keegan's body is, and I've actually before arrived at the funeral home where they already had the body in the casket. And it would be like in another room, and the door would still be open. And I remember one time I was with a friend, and I'm a very talkative person. I talk a lot, and I guess I don't remember who I was with, but I was talking really loud, and and being just really talkative. And the person I was with said, Ashley, shh, you're going to wake the dead. And I just started busting out laughing because I thought that was funny. So Madison's in there and she sees Keegan's body and then she hears his voice. So this one chapter 30, was from Madison's point of view and Keegan's point of view. And I didn't know, like when I was writing it, I didn't know if I was going to do like, first, like chapter 30 would be Madison. And then chapter 31 would be Keegan. And then, you know, like back and forth. I didn't really want to do that because that would be way too many chapters. Because this book, I think it's already, let me look. I think it's 55 pages. Or not pages, I'm sorry, chapters. It's already, yes, it is. Alright, so it's already 55 chapters. And I didn't want to go over to, like, Wicked Curse, that book, I think it has over 60 chapters. So this chapter was really easy for me to write because, like I said, I could relate with a lot of it. I've actually delivered flowers before where the family was already there and there were people crying, signing the book, talking in the back room, crying, sobbing, sniffing, little kids crying, babies crying. I remember one funeral, there were like little kids in the background running around. People were arriving and leaving. I seen a young couple stand by the casket. They were like talking back and forth. So, yeah. So anyways, the funeral part, pretty easy to write for me from where I work and volunteer and stuff. And then I really, during this whole chapter, I wanted to bring Keegan in because I did not know what he was doing when I was doing this chapter. So I was like, okay, I'll have him come in while Madison's doing her thing. So at first, when I was reading this, I'm like, I didn't even say, like, the next point of view was from Keegan's. And I didn't say, like, Keegan with his name first. But, so, there was a memory in here. Oh, yeah. So, the video where Madison... Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. I don't know if it's in here, but so Madison's watching the video with a bunch of pictures and stuff. And there was a picture where I thought it was actually me and my brother, but it was Rachel and Cody. But there's a picture that Madison and Keegan were on the bathroom sink brushing their teeth. Now, I do have a picture of that. I'm just trying to find it. Oh, I have to show you this picture. That's me. That was at my grandma's house. I fell asleep on the toilet. Okay, I don't know if I have it in here, but I know it's in here somewhere. Come on, where are you? Maybe I didn't put it in this one. I think it's in my teenager one, I bet. Probably is. Okay, so I do have to show you this one picture, though. Okay. So, my mom used to dress me and Cody in matching pajamas. The one picture I cannot find of me and Cody in the exact same... Oh, me and my brother... Okay, my mom was holding me and my brother, and we were wearing the exact same pajamas. So this is my brother Cody. And oh my gosh, I see Eli. I see Eli in his face. Okay, so this is my brother right here. So this picture, there's a picture of me where I am wearing these pajamas too. And my mom is holding us. So but I can't find that picture where me and, or not me and Cody, me or my sister and my brother were sitting on the sink and they were brushing their teeth. It's not in here. Mom. Okay, maybe it's in my teenager book. Let me look in that one. Haha. Teenager. Okay. I found it. Okay. Let me see if it's in here. So this is my second book that I published, my poetry book. It's called Teenager. Okay, let me look. It might be in here. I don't know. Oh, here's another picture of my brother. That looks just like Bentley. Look at that. That looks just like my nephew Bentley. That is so crazy. Like, I looked, when I was publishing Home and Teenager, you would not believe how many pictures I found of my brother when he was a kid. And at first, I thought it was Eli, but then I look back and I'm like, oh, that's Cody, never mind. Okay, I want to find that picture because I'm trying to explain something. I want to find that picture where I think it was my brother and my sister. That was, oh, there's me right there when I was a baby. That's me. Okay, it's not in here, you guys. But anyways, so Madison is sitting at the funeral home, and there was a picture that slid across the screen of her and Keegan on the sink brushing their teeth. So I was like, okay, that was me or my sister and my brother. So, okay, I gotta mark my spot so I don't. Okay. So anyways, so I think, for real, when people buy my book, if they buy these books first, and then they read The Wish, and then Awakened Evil, they will get reminded of things in these books because, like I said, some of the backstory with Madison, some of those, there's pictures in Home and Teenager. So, like, for instance, like my brother in his pajamas. I think there was a scene where Madison was thinking back to Keegan, and I'm not sure. I know I should know, but they're right here. I'm pretty sure there is, but Madison was thinking back to when her and her brother were little, and there's a scene in there where they had to be behind a cage, or not a cage, what is that? I don't know. I can't remember what that is called, but my mom had to do this to me and my brother because we were always, like, getting into things. So she had a gate. Thank you. Never mind. It's a kid's gate. So my mom had to keep us in the living room. So anyways, yeah, so if you guys are into poetry or learning about my past or my childhood, you can buy these. They are available. And then this is the first book, The Wish. Why is there a bookmark? Oh, I'm still working on it. Never mind. So this is The Wish, and then Awakened Evil. So this is 15 minutes long. Oh my Lord. So thank you so much for watching this live. If you have any questions about my poetry books like Home and Teenager, if you're interested in doing like a QA about these books, I will definitely do it. So I had a lot of fun doing these, and I will have them at Living Windows. I'm going to be setting my table up for Living Windows. I don't think it's next week. I don't know. I have to look. But it's either next week or the week after. I don't know. But if it's next week, then I'm really low on The Wish, which is not a very good idea because this series, you have to read 1, 2, 3, and 4. But anyways, yeah, so I'll have these there, and I will have these there too. So thank you so much for watching. Batman, look. Oh, you're so handsome. Oh. Okay, fine. You don't want to say bye to anybody? Do you want to say bye? No? No. Hi. Whoa. Holy. Ow. No. Whoa. It works every time. It works. Oh, Batman. I don't think you guys really want to watch me comb him, but okay, I guess. So anyways, thank you for watching, and God bless, and I will see you next Wednesday for another live reading.